Hello again, Jim, back with some more interesting and informative content on Freedom Diggers metal detecting, the much anticipated return. I want to start off by saying I really appreciate everybody that's been watching and subscribing. Been picking up quite a few subscribers and lots of people are tuning in, so it's good to see that people are liking my content. All right, let's go right into what we got here for tonight's video. Tonight we're going to talk about depth, separation, and recovery speed. Three important factors that you want to consider when you're upgrading or purchasing a metal detector. Now, the most talked about one of these is got to be depth. Everybody talks about depth. You see someone post a find, they tell how deep they found it. You know, it's kind of a bragging right thing. Oh yeah, I've hit a dime at 12 inches with this machine or that machine. It's depth. That seems to be sometimes that's all people think about is depth. But I'm going to put forth something here to kind of get the gears turning up there for a lot of you, and let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, or if you have anything else to maybe add to the discussion on this. So the thing is depth really all the most important thing? What about separation? Now, separation, for some of you that might not know, target separation, that is your machine's ability to tell one target from another when they're kind of bunched together. In other words, if you've got a nail, a rusty nail, and a silver dime close by each other, can the machine separate out the two targets? A lot of machines have a hard time seeing that silver. They'll pick up on that nail. That's because iron targets, they tend to leach into the soil more and have more of a halo around them, they call it. And that halo will overshadow that silver coin nearby. So can your machine pick them out? Can it separate them? That even goes for other targets like a pull tab and a silver coin, or a gold ring and a nail. Any two targets that are kind of far apart on the scale of identification, can it pick them out between each other? That's your separation. And the other one is recovery speed. And as most of you veterans are going to know, probably all of you, recovery speed's kind of a big deal. And it's come more into play, I'd say, within the last probably 7-8 years or so. One of the earlier recovery speed adjustable machines that was within reach of the masses, I would say, was the Equinox series. I know you could do it with the E-Track and the CTX. There might have been some other brands that had a little bit of they called it reactivity. Same sort of thing, recovery speed. That is the ability for the machine to reset itself after getting over a target. So let's say you get over a penny and then your coil comes off that penny and there's a quarter real close by. How long does it take to switch from identifying that penny to hitting that quarter and reporting the ID on that? I've seen displays where people have lined them all up in a row and they turn up their recovery speed real high and it's like they're playing a symphony or something. Machines go back and forth like that. And that's all fun and good, but cranking that recovery speed up too high can cost you some depth. So you see, they kind of play into each other, and separation plays into recovery speed as well. Because if you got your recovery speed up real high, it can affect how well your machine separates the targets. The point is really though, is depth is really, it's going to be useless without good separation and a decent recovery speed. And it's not always the machine recovery speed, what it's capable of. It's what you set it at. But if you don't have a machine with the ability to separate targets and recover at a decent rate, you're not going to hit real deep. The deep's not going to be any good unless you're in a relatively trash-free spot, and those are pretty hard to come by, especially if you live in a city like I do. If I'm going to get out and if I want to get on a park or something like that, and I want to come home with even enough clad to pick up a bottle of pop and a bag of chips on the way home, I'm going to be dealing with some trash, let me tell you. I think that's why a lot of guys in the 70s, they seem to be plucking a lot of silver quite easily. First off, it was more abundant then. The second off, I think there was a lot less trash in the ground in the early 70s. Yeah, you had your share of pull tabs, but they were shallow at that time. Just a theory of mine. Different way of detecting. Now you gotta have every advantage you can. And the machines are getting more and more advanced. So if you're looking to upgrade, there's a lot more to consider than it used to be, just depth and maybe discrimination. Now, discrimination, I think they got it down pretty good. If I want to not hear something, I can not hear it if I want to. And I'm capable of doing that on not only my Equinox 900, but Nicole's 700 will do it. There's a lot of machines out there that aren't really even that expensive that are good at doing it. So, something to look through, something to consider if you're upgrading. But what I really want to know is depth kind of starting to take a little bit of a backseat to separation and recovery speed? Or is depth still king? Do you think it's king? Honestly, I think depth is it's at the top, yes. But depth is useless if you don't have the other two, the separation and the recovery speed. You can control a little bit on that. Like if the machine has a slower recovery speed, you can just swing a little slower. True. Definitely. I used to have to do that. My White's MX Sport was kind of a slow machine recovery speed wise. So if I shortened up my swing and slowed down a lot, I could separate through, I could pick through stuff a lot better. But the two are tied together. Well, let me know what you think. Drop a comment. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. Like to see them numbers grow. I'm really not into this for money. It's more of a fun thing. And, hey, I'll have bragging rights of my own. If I end up as popular as some of these other guys out there, yeah, that's going to happen, sure. All right, everybody. I really appreciate you watching. And we'll see you next time on Freedom Diggers Metal Detecting. Thanks a lot.